everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com with yet more news! That's right, it's our second news video of a packed day of content. Tom has already done a news video earlier on today. Check that out if you want to see all of the stories he covered. Now we're covering my half of the story. So, without any further ado, let's get into those headlines. First of all, a Raw Superstar has responded to rumours that he will be leaving WWE. Next up, a SmackDown Superstar revealed that they had been in talks with AEW. And finally, another Raw Superstar is said to be a favourite of Vince McMahon. First of all, earlier on this week, it was reported that apparently a big WWE superstar had decided not to re-sign with the company, fueling rumours that they'd be heading to pastures new, AEW, Impact, New Japan, whatever. And those rumours seem to circulate around Ricochet. He seemed to be suspect number one in the eyes of many. Well, Ricochet has responded to these rumours in pretty undoubted fashion. He replied with a gif of the Wolf of Wall Street where DiCaprio says, "I'm not effing leaving," and everybody cheers. And also, Ricochet accompanied that gif with a post saying, "But seriously, where the hell did these rumours start? I've never once said that I'm leaving to anyone, so for these dirt sheets out there, brother, maybe fact check before you blast some trash on your website for some clicks." So, first of all, on one hand, a lot of people could say it's good that Ricochet's not leaving. He's a very talented member of the WWE roster. He is an asset to the company. But on the other hand, it could also be said that it's a bad thing that Ricochet is not leaving because he is almost certainly, in the opinion of many people, including myself, being vastly underutilized. And that's not to say that Ricochet hasn't had shots here and there before. He did, of course, wrestle Brock Lesnar, for example, for I think it was the WWE Championship. And didn't go well, did it? I mean, it seems like whenever Ricochet gets on the cusp of something, whenever his push seems to be leading somewhere, he gets knocked back down again. And more recently even than that, he has just been kind of milling about in the mid-card, getting involved with the Hurt Business and Apollo Crews and Cedric Alexander and everything. And again, he just seems to be one of a few guys in that storyline and not Ricochet, one of the most skilled athletes in the world of wrestling. So that is a shame. It doesn't mean that there's not time for this to change, but at the same time, it's a bit damning, isn't it? I mean, it sparked this whole debate on Twitter about whether Ricochet was being used correctly or not. Ricochet himself got involved with that debate as well, saying, basically, I need to work harder, nothing is given in this business, it is earned. Then that sparked a further debate amongst people, which Ricochet did not reply to as far as I've seen, basically saying, are WWE superstars being fed this kind of company lie that it's all down to them and the hardest workers get to the top? Because as we've so often seen, it's not always the hardest workers who get to the top. Sometimes it's just the ones who WWE have deemed to be their golden boy. Obviously, being 7 foot tall helps a lot as well. Next up, John Morrison recently did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Handsome arsehole. Both of them, both very handsome men, in fact. Imagine the handsomeness in that interview. And Morrison revealed that he had had talks with both WWE and AEW before eventually signing with WWE. Now, we didn't know that he'd been in talks with AEW, but he's confirmed it himself. So Morrison said, when season 4 of Lucha Underground ended, they have some stuff on their contracts where there's a tail, and the tail doesn't stop until the episodes stop airing. And so I had signed with Impact, and when everything was free and clear, I decided I'm a free agent again, completely free, no ties anywhere. I'm going to figure out where I want to go. And he goes on to say, so I talked to WWE and I talked to AEW and I had a really good conversation with Vince McMahon and they made me a really nice offer and I ended up taking it. And I remember when Morrison appeared on SmackDown for the first time, it was like, oh my God, Morrison's back, but it was also like a bit of an underwhelming segment in a way. He just appeared backstage, didn't he? He opened the Miz's locker room door, told the interviewer to go away, they needed privacy, and that was his big return. They didn't even do it, in a match. There wasn't a run-in or anything. It was very strange. Since then, Morrison has largely been in the tag division alongside The Miz. So I think he's another case of somebody where if they'd used him correctly, he could have been a main eventer by this point. Everyone knows and remembers and loves John Morrison, but they didn't really have any. It doesn't seem like they had any grand designs for him. It doesn't seem like they had any big aspirations when they signed him. And it may have been even just to keep him away from AEW. But then again, good for Morrison. If it was an offer that he couldn't refuse, if it was a really good offer, fair play to him for taking it and making a nice amount of money for himself. Also, he is, a former WWE superstar, and then he went off and did loads of other things, and now he is once again a WWE superstar. Maybe it was a case of familiarity. Maybe he felt more comfortable stepping back into an environment where everybody already knew him, he knew what was going on. And I think once again, you can't really judge him too harshly for not taking a risk and going to AEW because we're not in his shoes. We don't know what it's like. And it's a big result for WWE as well. It sounds really good for him to say that, doesn't it, on their behalf, that he had a choice between WWE and AEW, and he went with WWE. It does seem to reflect well upon them. I don't know, there's every chance they could use him well in the future, but at the moment, they and Morrison all seem pretty content to just have him in this tag team with The Miz. Next up, a big match has been announced for tonight's SmackDown, and it involves possibly the hottest storyline on SmackDown at the moment, that of Roman Reigns basically acting like a bit of a heel. Roman recently aligned with Paul Heyman, of course, and then turned up late to the match at Payback, was it? Yeah. Oh God, it feels so long ago, even though it was only a few weeks ago. Turned up at the match there, signed the contract, on his way to the ring, won the Universal Championship, and then that was it. He now seems to be a heel, and everyone seems to realize it, apart from Jey Uso. That's because Jey Uso was so grateful towards Roman for basically getting him in to the number one contenders fatal four-way match as a replacement for Big E, who'd been attacked by Sheamus. And then Jey Uso only went and won the match as well, so he became number one contender to Roman's title. That's going to take place at Clash of Champions, and I'm worried that Roman's going to do horrible stuff to Jey. And once again, Jey is being very naive here, but it's great storytelling. It's a great use of dramatic irony by WWE. Everybody knows that Roman's going to just be horrible to Jey, apart from Jey himself, who's blindly walking into this situation as a very sympathetic babyface. Now, before that match happens at the pay-per-view, we do have a match on tonight's SmackDown. That match is Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Baron Corbin and Sheamus in a Samoan street fight on SmackDown. The big question here is, will Roman Reigns show up for the beginning of the match, or, as he's been doing recently, will he just turn up when he feels like it, get the win, and then not really celebrate with Jey? Just be like, yeah, whatever, I'm Roman Reigns, which is exactly how he should have been 3 years ago. He should have been this character all along. Anyway, it sounds like it could be a good match. WWE have a lot of pressure on them, and the four superstars in that match have a lot of pressure on them as well, because obviously we had a really good street fight, a very good parking lot brawl on AEW this week, very well received by a lot of people towards the end of Dynamite. It was the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent, versus Santana and Ortiz. And by the way, when I say it was well received, right, oh my God, do I need to go into this? Yeah, I do. There was a comment on Graded this week, on my AEW Graded video, which was saying, why is Jack saying that All Out was a badly received pay-per-view? Let's not confuse fact for opinion. I think this person in the comments, and it got quite a few likes as well, so I'm just saying, everyone who liked it, you're an idiot. Basically, this guy was saying, oh, let's not confuse fact for opinion. This is Jack's opinion that it was badly received. No, the people I saw on Twitter, my bubble, received it badly. That's a fact that the people I saw, the majority of them were saying it was a bad show. That's not my opinion, that's what I saw. And this person seems to have been confusing fact and opinion as well, saying that, well, it's a fact that it wasn't badly received. No, that's your opinion. This is a news video, and I'm going to continue. Next up, now that I've calmed down, a controversial WWE superstar has made an anti-mask statement saying on Twitter, lay down your freedom, brother, raise those masks that do no good. This was part of a Twitter back and forth about wearing masks or not wearing masks during this time. And I've deliberately kept the identity of this person a secret because now it's going to have a bit of impact when I say it. It's Jackson Riker. Just stay out of trouble. Riker, of course, really did not do himself any favors in recent months, making some controversial comments on Twitter, a lot of it regarding the protests and, you know, Black Lives Matter and that sort of thing, and basically just coming across a bit narrow-minded is what I'll say. It didn't just end his push, it ended the push of the Forgotten Sons as well, his team that he was the manager / third man of. And now, he's getting involved with the mask debate as well. Again, falling on the more right-leaning side of things, and again, not expressing it in a very scientific or intelligent way. Never mind Jackson, I mean, maybe, to be fair, we know that Vince McMahon himself is a right-leaning person, but it seems like the majority of the WWE locker room are more left-leaning. But maybe Vince thinks he's an amazing dude for doing all this, but I don't know if he'll have won himself any friends in the locker room. I don't know, I'm just speculating, of course, wildly. But we haven't seen Jackson Riker for a long time on WWE TV, and I don't know if by making controversial statements like these on either side of the debate, whether he's going to, you know, endear himself to many. And finally, a Raw Superstar is said to be one of Vince McMahon's favourites. This was revealed on Devon Dudley's Table Talk podcast, and the guest was Zelina Vega. Let's find out what was said. Vega said, if the quarantine didn't happen, not that I wouldn't have had these opportunities, but it may have taken a little longer. Also, Becky Lynch is having her baby. There are people that are not here, and that leaves spots for people to fill. Very true. She goes on, I was always like, give me the ball, and if I drop it, screw me, but you lose nothing. I was always ready for that. I think it started with Drew when we had that back and forth, herself and Drew McIntyre, of course. She goes on to say, he was my other promo half. It was perfect. When it happened with him, it was magic. It's interesting because before quarantine happened, Vince would always say, you are one of my favorites. You're one of the reasons I watch Raw, and I love your character. She goes on, it was such an honor to hear that. He said, you remind me of Stephanie because she is always working out there and you are a machine. Very promising signs there for Zelina Vega, of course, because being one of Vince's favorites it can't be a bad thing when he's the man in charge, can it? I do also sort of see what Vince means, actually, saying that she reminds him of Stephanie McMahon. They are in slightly different ways, both cut from the same cloth a little bit in terms of heel ringside characters. I'm not so sure about in-ring, but in terms of in that managerial role that Vega does really well, yeah, I can see it. I think that's a good comparison by Vince, actually. Vega also revealed that Paul Heyman is one of her supporters, saying, you wouldn't be given the ball if it wasn't for someone to believe in you, and one person that really believed in me was Paul Heyman, who is obviously now no longer in charge of Raw's creative direction. I'm so lucky to say I had someone like him on my side because he fought for me every single time, every single day. And she finished that by saying, when it comes to being a manager, I look up to him a lot because he is the greatest of all time. When you have someone like that who believes in you, it fuels your fire that much more. I mean, Heyman does have to go down, doesn't he, as one of the greatest managers of all time, alongside probably Heenan and Cornette. But, Heyman's certainly up there. He's in the same ballpark as those other two. And so it's all looking good for Zelina Vega, but is it looking good for you? Because, I want you to enjoy your weekend and the rest of your day. Thanks very much for watching this video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below and stay safe out there, stay positive, and I'll see you very soon.